jump onto the aeroplane, let's continue this theme. Haven't we all become quite arrogant? When last, apart from COVID and lockdown, did you actually listen to the air hostess giving you those instructions? So I want to tell you right now that you have to stop. And I hope you can all see what I'm seeing on my screen. I want you all to know that you have to stop talking about COVID. Stop using it as an excuse to fail. Stop all this noise, this white noise that we get, this too much information. Stop listening to the politics. Stop listening to international politics and stop innovating if you are not talking. Stop. Of all this information that you've been receiving constantly, what of it can you control? David spoke about it just a little while ago, that this is the exact issue that we have. If you can control the information, you need to use it. If you cannot, then ignore it. So I want you to remember when you jump onto that aeroplane, you have to listen. You have to listen to the air hostess because you never know what's going to come out and what they're going to say. It's important for each one of us to take a step back.
Come sit. Sit here. Sit.
You need to control your business. You need to add a little bit more pressure. The pressure of focus. You need to know where you're going to. You need to add the focus of relevance. Are you relevant for what's going on right now, for what's happening in our industry, for what's happening in our world and happening in our country? Stop, breathe, and add that pressure of focus and relevance. Remember, always, with chaos comes change, and change comes new. There will be new clients with new needs, and therefore, how relevant are you? So I'm calling each and every one of you out today to become focused, to become relevant, to understand that pivot means new, different, either a new client or a new product. But somewhere along the line, you need to start pivoting. You need to start changing. So we need you to shine. We want you to shine like a diamond. And we want you to be able to say that you are still growing right now. How do we do that? Let's unpack this just a minute or two. There's too much information. We know that. We're in an information overload at the moment and therefore not focused. We are not understanding our clients. We're not even talking to our clients. We're not understanding who our clients actually are. And there are new opportunities that we are not taking advantage of. A lot of change has happened, but understand exactly what it is and where you sit. So during lockdown, I worked with over hundreds of business owners. We were able to get them focused, to get them relevant, and to keep moving them forward for growth. These are business owners, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs. We've had the best results. Some have grown more than 400% year on year, 200% month on month. Some have employed to the maximum amount that they level and now need to jump in growth. And some have found their relevance. How did we do this? We started to work on the business and not in the business. 92% of my clients are growing. Isn't that just amazing in the times that we live right now? So let's have a look at those three issues that I spoke about. Too much information. We are living in a world of information overload, where time is just wasted, where there's far too many opportunities, too many shiny objects, and too much distraction. Even sitting in the aeroplane, far too much distraction. The data that we receive is of high volume but poor quality. Our productivity is down. We receive about 115 emails daily, and every 3 hours and 5 seconds, you would have had an email or a message. And in fact, it's probably even while I've been talking. So I want you to understand that the world is sitting on 2 hours and 25 minutes per day on social media. South Africa, we're sitting on 3 hours and 32 minutes on social media. Please tell me that that time that you are wasting is actually research, is customer research, or is innovation research. Because why are you on social media? The world's average of using internet currently is 6 hours and 54 minutes. But South Africa, we sit on the internet for 10 hours and 6 minutes. Why? What are we looking for? What are we doing? Isn't it time to do a bit of streamlining? Isn't it time to actually pick up the telephone and talk to your client? Isn't it time to maybe handwrite a letter? When did you receive post that wasn't a bill? One size no longer fits all. We need to be innovative. We need to understand exactly who our client is. And in doing so, we need to have this intimate knowledge of our client from a demographics, psychographics, and generational point of view. Why? Why do we need to know our client? Because that will give us our direction. That will give us our focus, and that will ensure that we are relevant. So let's have a look quickly at these 3 elements. Always in the past, it had been at least 60 to 80% the age, the gender, the income, the education. But you know what that number has gone down to now? Is 40%. We need to know it, but it's not the concentration side of things. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's look a little bit deeper then. So if that's what the demographics was or is, then what is the psychographics behind your client? From you or using your services right now? Why are they looking at you instead of your neighbor, instead of your competition? Did you know that 11,000 new businesses start every hour on the hour, but only 86% of them will fail within the next 5 years? So what pain are you solving for your client, and what pleasure are you enhancing for your client? Understand their why, not your why. It's not about you when you're building your business. It's about your client. But there's also another element that we forget. Because if I ask somebody, who's your client? Give me an age. They normally go 25 to 55. How many generations are you covering in that point? Too many. Because every generation has a specific need. Every generation during lockdown has had to adapt in a different way. This is just a general slide, but it's some interesting facts behind it. So I want to go a little bit deeper about the generations right now. Our older generation, the baby boomers, this generation has had to adjust, adapt, and manage. They've been through wars, social change, political change, terrorism, but now they are very susceptible to contacting this virus. And if they lost their job during this time, they will struggle to get a new job. They will struggle to see or to make sure that they are surviving going forward. 25% increase in online shopping comes from this generation. How amazing is that? Generation X has started to relocate out of the cities. They've started to try and save money by going into bigger spaces away from the urban area. They've already gone through a recession and therefore know that they've got to look at their finances, but they're struggling to catch up to their parents financially. This generation was prepared for social distancing and quarantining because they understand. They come from a space with time in their space. So they know how to have a hobby, how to do DIY. It's a generation that can fulfill their time with something. And right now, that's what they're doing. That's where they're spending their money. And that's where they're saving their money at the same time. But then let's look at our next generation, the millennials. So many people are talking about the millennials. But did you know that during this time, they have been less productive due to working remotely? Because they want to be in teams. They want to be with other people. They've also had to have concern on their parents as well as their kids and have juggled homeschooling and working from home. But they are reducing their spend significantly. Generation Z is concerned about their work-life balance. They've been affected during this time with social and professional development and are struggling financially as well as emotionally. A high percentage of this young generation would have lost their jobs due to tourism, hospitality, retail, from either a part-time or a full-time position. And they are feeling right now less connected. It's a generation that's going to need a lot more help. And yesterday, sitting in a risk assessment meeting, they were talking about PTSD for this generation specifically. So at the beginning of last year, we have a diamond theory of relevant advantage, where we have a look and see, are you relevant for right now? It's been very interesting because at the beginning of 2020, most of my clients were sitting on an 8 or 9 out of 10, and you probably will be the same. But guess what? Right now, you're sitting at a 1 or a 2 because we haven't taken that time out to make sure that we are relevant. So it's very important for you to stay focused and relevant in these times. It's very important for you to understand where in the life cycle of your business you actually sit. You need to look at your numbers. You need to look at what were you doing the year before lockdown. How were you managing? Because we tend to want to blame lockdown and COVID for everything. But for those businesses that were struggling before COVID are using COVID as an excuse now, and it's not necessary as well as not fair. We need to make sure that we're intimately understanding where we are in our business, who our clients are, what value we're adding, as well as the experience. So that moves us to the third element of trends. So what's really happening out there at the moment? We all sit at home in our little bubble and we're not really sure what's going on. It's really important to understand what's happening in South Africa as well as the world. So not only just our bubble. Ghost cities are being created. The escape from the city. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon and heading out for rural space, whether it's a permanent move or whether it's a weekend move, because people want the space. They want to feel like that COVID is not around them anymore. But moving from city has become quite easy now because we have Zoom. Like now, I'm sitting by the beach in Cape Town talking to you far away. We also have Zoom, Teams. We have all of those equipments that we need, all of the different programs that we need to be able to communicate. And if I hear somebody say again that they have Zoom fatigue, I think I'll jump down the computer, because this is the area, you cannot have Zoom fatigue. I sit on Zoom for about 10 hours a day, developing relationships, speaking, keep growing. What are you doing right now? So if they're moving out of the cities, what are they doing? They're going to a sustainable living lifestyle. They're going back to growing their own fruit and veggies. They want to be in that kind of space. So what are you doing for them? Nights out at the theatre and with friends and going to movies have become nights in at home. But a year of mom and dad's cooking is driving everybody insane, isn't it? Isn't it time that we are able to share new cuisines, new ways of doing things? The Generation Zs are even trying out home cooking right now. And hobbies. The increase in hobbies and DIY at home is huge because people are investing money in their home rather than going to live concerts, live and theatre and using petrol. It becomes important for us to remember that right now, this is what they're doing. But there are also new trends of home cooking. As I said, Generation Zs are starting to learn how to cook, but also gardening and home improvement. Cycling and walking have increased, and whereas driving and being on the bus and train has decreased significantly. So what does that mean? It means that spending time with local people, spending time getting to know your community has become very important. So what are you doing for the local spaces? Because people are wanting to learn about the local areas. Are we helping them? Are we guiding them? Are we putting out people that are doing different walks around, talks around, as well as cycling? I went away for a weekend during lockdown, and the little village that I went to, one restaurant was open, nothing else. It was sad because we had money to spend, nobody to spend it on. Mental health will be a huge dilemma for a while still, because it's really mental health versus the pandemic, and that's very sad. So remember, that's going to continue going forward. But supporting people, especially local, the community, social responsibility has been around for such a long time. However, it's now become more and more important. The people that are walking around, going on hikes, doing cycling are actually coming up and realizing the disgrace that we have within our spaces. So they are spending time and money supporting and helping the community, realizing that we all need to go eco-friendly with the different packaging and processes that we do, because that will help, like the packets in the sea, in the harbor, the plastic that's been a disgrace for a while. But now, what value are you adding? So it doesn't matter about what you do. What value are you adding? People are looking for those ecosystems. People are looking to get together. During lockdown, things have moved from the business and the brand, where often they were separated. It's now one. If you have a brand and you're starting to position that brand, you've got to understand what the purpose of your business is. Is it just to make money? Because we're no longer at that space anymore. There has to be your why. What is your story? Are you putting that out there for people to see and to hear? Live streaming has become so fun, such fun with different retailers showing you how to mix and match different clothing items together, as well as the different travel agents have been showing how and where to go to around the world. We've traveled from our seats at home. E-commerce, if you're not on e-commerce right now, you have lost out. The increase in e-commerce during lockdown has been phenomenal. So for those travel agents that have the most beautiful photos, have you put them onto a calendar where you can sell them online? Have you created postcards, those old-fashioned things that people now want? Everybody's going back to basics. They're going back to look at what they can and cannot do. And the final trend that I want to share with you today is collaborations. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. We've had a look at who can we collaborate with becomes really important. Take time out. What associations and industries do you need to belong to? Where do you need to find your suppliers? Who has the same target audience as you that doesn't do the same thing that you do, that you can collaborate together? It's time to make your circle bigger. The only way you're going to grow is if you have a bigger circle around you. So stop and breathe. Go back to listening to that air hostess when she gives you the instructions. Remember to stay focused and relevant. Maybe there's a tip a trick that she can actually share with you that you don't know. So make sure that you look at getting away from the overload of information that we have. Make sure that you understand exactly who your clients are and look for those opportunities right now. So if you've heard something that really starts getting you going, in 2 slides time, my website will be up. Take a photo, have your camera, because I know you're going to want the free ebook that's sitting on my newsletter. It helps you streamline everything that you're doing. It helps you become relevant again, and it helps you to stay focused. I know that the free ebook will help. I have a Calendly link that you are welcome to link to me and get a 30-minute free chat. We can look for those opportunities. We can find something that makes you more relevant to stay in the market and to grow your business. So here we go. Here is the name of my company, Brand Analytics. Hats off to every single business owner that continued working and striving through this lockdown period. Please take a screenshot so that you can get hold of me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you. My name is Diane Boorman, and I look forward to talking to some of you further about your business growth. Let's get our economy back. Let's start working together and making our circles bigger so that we can grow not only your business, but the country that we live in.